Welcome back. Everyone needs an Aquarius. We are back. We are back. What is going on, Dom?
Man, I listen. I had a long weekend. You know me. I was looking forward to it.
I went to church, man.
You went to church,
Yeah, man. I mean, it's my year. I do Easter. I'll do Easter. You know what I mean?
and not Christmas.
No, man. I ain't getting up for that. We trying to get up and cut some toys open. We trying to cut it up a little bit.
When I say Christmas, I don't mean the actual day. I only remember vividly one time in my life, and I know it's been other days, but
Yeah,
I only remember.
I went to every Christmas. Like I went to church so much as a kid that I'm still past most of y'all people when they come to the church.
No, Christmas. I remember vividly one year going on Christmas Sunday because we had the church, the nativity play, and I was Mary. And I just remember one line that was like, I'm gonna have a baby soon, so shelter we both need. Couldn't tell you nothing else after that.
Shelter we both need.
That's all I got.
Yeah, dude, you just unlocked the memory for me. So my fourth grade play, we did the whole thing, right? And I remember I wanted to be the angel Gabriel, the one that would announce everything. Yo, why they cast me as King Herod?
They saw your future.
Hey, man, I had to be sinister up in there sitting in a crown chair.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. No, I was like, I remember that because I was like, man, we had two services, and that second service like was never really ever really packed. But they still had it because I still don't know why we just didn't have one service that day. Nigga, I was like, oh, can't wait to get home and open these Barbies. So okay. I went to my brother's house, and they had like an Easter egg hunt.
Okay, for the
and
kids.
All of that. So that was a lot of fun. I ended up cooking macaroni and cheese. That was literally 2 hours before I got pressured. Like, oh, we didn't know you was coming. We would have. So yeah.
You had to cook it there, or you cooked it?
I cooked it there. I ended up cooking it there. I love their kitchen. They have a big kitchen, so I cooked there. But yeah, man, besides that, I slept a lot. I probably have a year and a half worth of sleep that I've missed out on with all the chaos in my life. So my body is definitely like, lay your body down. But
sleep.
Listen, baby, but I will tell you one thing I did twice is I saw Sinners twice and going again tomorrow.
All right, well let's talk about Sinners here. Let's talk about Sinners. What did you? Oh, obviously you've seen it twice. You can see it a third time, so I'm assuming you're.
Yes, It was very, very iconic. I just want to start out by saying I said this on my podcast when we dropped the review. There's this nostalgia aspect to the entire rollout of Sinners, right? We haven't seen this type of marketing in a long time, and it reminded me of like the big blockbusters back in the day when it came to movies coming out. They've traveled globally pushing this movie, promoting this movie. They've been in the UK, they've been in France, they've been in Mexico, all these different places, New York, here. And then even prior, leading up to it, when we first talked about that trailer, how many months ago was that? Like 4 or 5 months ago. And then to see what has become of this movie, it's just been a moment. And I have industry friends that saw this movie 3 weeks ago, so I've been waiting. I'm like, yo, like I need access to this. So with that said, this was something that is very just like pivotal, because I was talking to Tony Baker. He was like, is Sinners like a horror film? And I was like, well, when you realize that is our reality, a lot of things hit different, and it was so many different themes, so, intertwined in this film that were perfectly executed. And also wanting us, like everybody wanting more. Like, can we get a prequel? You know, can we explore this? What did this mean? You know, with the Indians and, you know, I don't even know. And it was beautifully shot. I saw it on IMAX at first, and then I went to see it on how he intended for it to be seen on film. And then tomorrow I'm going to see it 70 millimeter IMAX. So it's like a, you know, even bigger screen. Honestly, I'm really going because I'm really trying to get my hands on the film strip that they're supposed to be giving away starting tomorrow. But for when you go see it in 70 millimeter IMAX. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
and that's and I don't know if they're ultimately going to have it travel on film, because at the moment there are only like 7 or 8 theaters in the country that are showing it on film. But I just, where do you want to begin? Because it's just so much to unpack. I love
it. From the beginning. I saw it twice. So
you saw it twice too?
Yeah, but the first time I saw it, I didn't like it. For real.
Okay, do tell.
I didn't say I don't like it. It's an awesome movie, like great, good. My first time viewing it. So there is a project I've been working on, and I told you about it. That not the one that's coming soon, but another one where I thought he took me and Teddy's concept of something with that. Not took it on purpose. He just and when I saw it, I was like, damn it, he did our idea before we could do it. So I went in thinking like, oh, he's going to do what we had perceived for a concept of vampires or white people or whatever. And I'm still not going to say that because I don't want anybody stealing this shit.
Don't say nothing.
I'll tell you. But with a concept with it, I was like, oh, snap, they're going to do it. And I thought there was going to be more singularity put around the vampires being white. And it was not it. So originally when I went in, I didn't know. I thought it was going to be more horror. More about vampires, and that was partly just my misconceived notion, because we don't get vampires for the first to the third act of the movie, damn near. So it was more of like, okay, I needed to, like when I saw it again, because like I said, it was some script issues. I feel like within within certain scenes, like where, like for one, I'm gonna get out the way, man. Where did all the other random dudes they start killing in the juke joint come from?
Okay, so I did see that.
I was like, it wasn't with them planning stuff earlier. Where all these red shirts come from? And red shirts, people that know, it's a term from Star Trek where if you saw somebody with a red shirt go visit a planet with other characters, they'd be like, oh, he gonna die when they go to the planet. So that's where red shirt comes from.
I peeped that as well, but also my thing was I wanted more about the Choctaw. You know, like
that was my second thing. That was my second issue. That was my dropped him off in there, and we didn't get anything that would connect us. Like maybe they could have showed up and like at the end, you know,
that's what I was thinking. Absolutely at the end. And yes, guys, there are spoilers. So if you have not seen Sinners, fast forward to our next topic. It'll be in the show.
It's in the description. You can click it.
In the description.
Yep.
So for me,
but see, because I thought they should have introduced the vampire Remy or Rembrandt earlier in the film, like that scene where where the Choctaw with. I think that should have been introduced earlier in the movie. Just to mention, like, okay, we are fucking around with vampires here at some point, instead of waiting to the end to bring the vampires in.
I think for me, the pacing of everything went over really well because of Remy's monologue at the end. Yes. And when he goes through and explain how he ends up there, where he came from, what happened to him trying to still coerce them into coming into his world.
Second viewing, I realized that he's full of shit.
He's full of shit.
So not like I said, then when I saw it again, I literally was like, yo, okay. The movie's not about the vampires, it's about faith.
Yeah.
It's about your belief. And then I tripped off of it, right? I was like, yo, the movie actually has all 10 commandments being broken in the movie.
Oh, wow. See, now I didn't peep that.
Think about it. All 10 commandments are broken in the movie.
Now I'm going to go in tomorrow with different eyes.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, this, because everyone sinned. This is sinners. The 10 commandments. You have sinned. before God. And so then it made me think like that means everyone had to die, but Sammy because he was baptized. Think about every other character that was involved that was sinning died. They all died.
Yeah.
All the sins that were committed: adultery, coveting my neighbor's wife, stealing, murder, saying God's name in vain, lying, cheat, like everything. Everyone all had to die.
I think also regardless of if it was we was talking about, I saw a thread that said, regardless of what happened, whether it had been vampires or not, that ultimately the twins would have probably likely died just simply because, the KKK situation. Because then at least the vampires tipped off, Smoke, and was like, oh, they riding at dawn, like they coming tomorrow anyway, blah 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 blah, and we could get them and whatnot. I think I thought what was really dope was how he intertwined different cultures, and then ultimately you learned how
visually it's amazing. The movie's amazing visually.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like the different cultures, how you have the Asian population that came through that was also in the Caribbean, how they talked about, they was kind of in the middle, but they were able to serve Black people and white people, and give Black people this safe space to come and shop and provide things to them that they might not have necessarily had access to from that forefront as far as like goods go. Then you have the layer of you get hoodoo, root work, all of that happening. We confront the age-old one drop rule,
and that was her sin. That was her sin. Was the hoodoo was her sin technically?
Yeah,
because lose my father's name in vain, or no other God before my God.
Yeah, but you know what? But I think when we think about the history of Black people,
but hoodoo is steeped in not Catholicism, but it's steeped in Christianity too.
Yeah, so it looks different because we've been conditioned and taught that these things go against God, but then also it offered a layer of protection. Because think about that fight scene between Smoke and Stack. Stack couldn't kill him. You saw that he was covered because he had that necklace on. And so you see him trying and he can, but then also she covered and protected Stack as well to a certain degree, which did not allow him to kill Stack. So it was just like, shit, what is it gonna be? And though he ultimately did get bit, but it wasn't like Stack had that protection on. His lust, his weakness is what got him caught up. So if we're gonna say the 10 Commandments, but ultimately what leads to all of this is, I'll repeat myself. Homegirl wanted so much more from Stack, and though he did, which I believe he clearly loved her, but he was doing stuff to protect not only himself but her. And then though you're welcome in this space, and Black people, we have a thing of, hey, you cool, blah 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 blah, but a lot of times that always comes back to bite us, on our ass, because even after the confrontation, when they wouldn't let them in, you still so intrigued, and your privilege allows you to think that you can navigate between both worlds. When it's really you it always comes back, and it never works out accordingly. And like I told Herb, I said, hey, she felt seen by them.
What if DOC never got into that car accident? What if Ice Cube didn't leave NWA? What if the game never leaves G-Unit? What if Teddy Riley never moves to Virginia? What if we got that J. Cole and Kendrick album? What if the RZA would have never had that flood? How would the hip-hop world sound today? Welcome to Hip Hop What Is, the podcast where we dive into the biggest what could have beens in hip hop history. From iconic album delays to game-changing partnerships that never happened, we reimagine the culture we love and explore its alternative paths. And you are now at Hip Hop What Is.
She wasn't necessarily getting what she didn't get what she wanted in that space, though she was welcome, though these people loved her. It wasn't enough for her. And then when you have the situation happen with the Asian chick, for me, like I said, selfish, because now your kid don't have neither one of you, like either parent. And it was that moment where it was just like you was willing to do whatever and throw everybody else under the bus because this nigga told you, oh, we gonna go get your kid. No, the fuck they not. They wasn't. That was their way of, trying to either to get you to come out
or invite them in.
Or you want to be starting something like Michael Jackson. Okay. Like it didn't make sense. But for me, I thought it was dope. Because Annie, we never see women that look like Annie in those lead roles that look like her. She curvy, she stacked, she brick out.
She been getting them though lately. Lovecraft Country, she was doing
Lovecraft as well. Lovecraft as well. But you have to think of it like for real, like where there's not a level of like a lot of trauma attached to her. Yes, we know her history. Yes, they were madly in love with each other. They had this baby that passed away, but it wasn't as jarring as the character in Lovecraft.
I got you. I can get you.
Like Annie ain't about to go and take a potion to be white to get a job. Like she's not interested. Yeah. But like even the characters like Michael B. Jordan playing Smoke and Stack.
No,
and I'm sorry, and you feel free to jump in. I'm talking too much.
He need to get a nominated for Oscar for this. Like no bullshit.
I mean, Michael B. stretched himself for this role. Like I enjoy Michael B. I always enjoy Michael B. Jordan all the time. But like just seeing him, and we know playing twins, and it wasn't like they was in a lot of scenes together. Let's be clear.
No. They didn't make him do that much like that.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as Lindsay Lohan, which I was okay with. But no, having to have different mannerism, different tones, like you had to have, Stack that's kind of more the playful brother, irresponsible. Where Stack is like, hey,
Smoke is more.
Smoke is more.
It's like you can't be giving out these.
We walking a straight line. I'm about my bag. I gotta look out for everybody. I'm trying to stay, centered on this. I don't have time for the rigmarole and the riffraff. Keep it
like
moving.
Another thing that was awesome was the score by Ludwig Göransson. Like awesome score. The score was
the soundtrack was, but also let's have a moment for Delroy Lindo.
Yeah, it's about the way he got
just the entire the character itself, just like it's so layered. And of course, not shocking. Great actor, been around for a while.
Lindo.
But it's just Delroy Lindo. It was just everything. It was a moment. And then also, I think when I think about the pacing of this film, the comedic relief that came through right on time.
It was a lot of good comedy points in there.
A lot of good comedy points. And then, with Cornbread, and just seeing also how long these niggas have been gone and everybody just kind of pick up where they left off with them. Because how you gonna come to me talking to me about some money and then you gonna say, well, I'm gonna pay you enough, where she might let you put your stuff in her mouth.
Because he wasn't getting it before. He wasn't getting it.
Yeah, but how much you talking? So she was
like, look, he ain't lying. The thing that was great about this is that, like, overall, even though I thought more of horror originally about it, the aspect of the horror, and that was one of my, like I said, my deficiency going into it. It was good to see a Black film like this.
Yeah, it was I mean, it was so dope. It was so dope. Now, when I go tomorrow, I'm gonna wear my hearing aid because I probably should, honestly, because seeing it in IMAX the first time, like I felt like it was so loud, but then there was audio that I was missing. And then when I went to see it on film in an older theater, it wasn't as loud, and it didn't come to my mind that I should have worn my hearing aid because I was missing the audio of when Delroy Lindo is in the car telling Cornbread Sammy and Stack about his time on the Chain Gang and what happened to the friend and the friend getting lynched. I couldn't hear the audio because versus, typically they do a flashback, but they just let the sounds kind of play. I couldn't hear that.
Oh dang! So okay, so you couldn't even hear when he was like really telling that story about homeboy getting lynched on his way to Arkansas.
So I heard it, but then the background is an audio of, instead of a flashback, it's just the audio of what happened. So I couldn't hear that.
Okay.
Yeah. This is what it's like to be hard of hearing, guys.
No. So it was Mike, like I said, like it was the sinners was everyone. But also faith played a big thing in, because
absolutely,
he had to take a leap of faith of believing that even though all this stuff happened when it was the worst day and the best day of his life, he still did not want to go towards that religion. He had his faith in his music, because his music is the thing that could change the world. That he had to have faith that was his destiny to change the world. What was interesting was, and I mean, I've seen some different theories. I know Ryan Coogler may have some small little things in there that he would never admit to, but the white girl being attached to you for eternity, that doesn't lay nowhere on me. No, I mean, I know he may not ever say it, because I get it, man. You try to get this money. I ain't mad at you.
But also that just speaks to, okay, this is the only way we can be together, because think about our love is forbidden. And not saying that vampires live in like a world of like hell, because y'all spirits, y'all still are roaming this earth. Like, it's like so much, like pretty much y'all operate through this space of purgatory almost.
Yeah, they're dead. They're basically dead.
Yeah, y'all dead, but y'all not dead. And I'm like, this is the only way we could be together. And I'm like, it still just be the same thing. Y'all just can't never. We see this happen recently a lot. And with certain influencers, people going online, same thing, and then they get unalive. So it's just like, be careful. It's be careful.
And so, like, the thing is, I know that it's an old trope from movies, the vampire, you have to let in, but it comes from spiritual bases of like saying, like, when you're inviting another spirit into your home, so that spirit knows it cannot be trusted or belong in this area, so that's why you have to invite them in. So that was like a thing of like, I'm gonna invite in these different aspects. How am I inviting in this doubt? Am I inviting in all these different things of these aspects of myself? Because when he was saying like, hey man, we should just all be together and just do this stuff and go kill all them together, that sounds cool on paper, but what does that mean for your soul? Yeah, you're doing all this stuff to be able to get this but what does it mean for your soul? Your soul's stuck in purgatory. Your soul can never rest. Your soul, your spirit, your essence of who you are. You never get to go rejoin your daughter like Smoke did at the end of the movie. If you go join this, you never get to get those journeys of life of dying on your own. I guess it's your own
sort of.
No, it's your own discretion. Even I guess vampires just flip it on the other side and say, well, I took my life in my own hands as well by being immortal. But how much can you see? How much have you been through? And maybe with Michael B. Jordan and Stack and what was it? What was the young lady's name? The other one.
I just be calling her real name, Haley Steinfeld.
Oh, Haley Steinfeld. Mary. Was Stack and
which is also an interesting name for her.
Yeah, Mary. Yeah, the purity of Mary. The fact that she looked like a white girl that hung out with black dudes even in 92. Even like she like person. I mean, I'm assuming that's probably why she was rocking even in 1933. I don't know, like, you know, different styles, and maybe styles weren't as no, the styles were prevalent difference between culturally, but I'm sure she was dressing like we do.
Mm-hmm.
And it showed, and I don't know if people picked up on it, like she looking like a regular assistant, she looking like Salt and Pepper in 92. Hanging out with Michael B. Jordan. So like she is a part of the culture. So he feels like that's it. And I wonder when at the end where they turned around, a part of me, when I said the second time, a part of me thought like they felt sorry for themselves.
Probably
they don't get to live an actual life to be able to see the sun, be able to see their family, do these different things. It sounded cool on paper to be immortal, but it don't sound when you got when all those other different things. Like it's almost like when you're to lose your soul to gain all this stuff, you got to give up maybe potentially those fortitudes of happiness in life. Because people say all the time how, man, I'm running to people that have a whole bunch of money and they miserable. They got all this shit.
Yeah, all the time.
They can't look at the sun. That's the thing. It's the same.
And that's what he said. That was the last time I saw my brother alive. That was the last time I saw the sun, you know, the sun, all these different things. And it's just like, what, you know, like you said, you know, like it's so many different aspects of that, just because all because how I'm not gonna put it all on her.
No. I'm just saying
it's part of her, but her selfishness, her privilege, but then also, you know, his like I said, lustful thoughts, being lusty, got him in trouble. And also I want to, you know,
and he had never heard her talk dirty like that either. I don't think that was the thing when she was like, "You ain't gonna get some of this pussy." He was like, "What? You ain't never talked to me like that."
Hold on, wait a second. Let's talk about Sammy and old girl.
Look, another of the 10 commandments that was broken. Another of the 10 commandments that was broken.
Yes, but also when they said that this movie was horny, it was horny. Like we had so many, and it wasn't even so many scenes. It was just like
no. That's the thing. You know, I hate love scenes in movies.
Oh,
and these love scenes were a part of the storyline. So I'm talking about those love scenes. Be like, hey, they just be sitting on the couch and they just start fucking, and it's like 5 minutes, and like we could have used that to develop more of the plot. This is what I don't.
For sure. But for me, I was just like, okay, everything, like you said, the ebb and flow of everything, like everything worked out. Flow, but then it was just, it's so funny because, you know, she was like, she said, wait, hold on, I walked here. He was like, hey, like, I want to taste it. You beautiful. And I was just like, nigga. I was like, he said, a little tang ain't never hurt nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, it was so crazy. And then I think the interesting thing about, I felt like people really were not picking up what Remick was saying to Sammy. Like when he had the whole scene in the water and they're fighting, they want Sammy to get away. And and as I mentioned earlier, the whole thing about they coming back, for this, they coming to get y'all. But if you come with me, you have this level of immortality. I know what it's like to be oppressed, pretty much. I know what that's like to have somebody come and take your land. I know what that's like to have somebody come and colonize and steal all your shit. And then but I want your songs. I want your music. I want all of this stuff. And you're just like, I'm like, he the record label.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, he is the record label.
And, I think it's crazy how he like knocked Remick upside his head, Sammy, now, realizing that's like pure silver on the guitar. And then how even when Annie got killed, she was like, they feel pain, and how they were able to kind of weaken them a little bit when that happened. And then you have, but like I think that monologue was just so crazy. And then that's where people was like, oh, we want more of his backstory. I'm like, he told you what his story was. He told you where he came from. He told you that the song that Sammy played, in there is what summoned him there. He told him that. You called for me. And then it goes back to what his daddy told him in the church. Hey, you keep knocking.
Saul Williams, who played his daddy. I hadn't seen him in a while.
Listen, Saul Williams still looked the same as when he was on Girlfriends. When he was very clean.
I saw the movie Slam first.
Oh, yeah, no. But then, you know what? Somebody I was talking to had asked randomly if the daddy was like a vampire or something. And I was like, no, he wouldn't have been able to be in the church.
No, not at all.
I was like, no,
all them crosses and all, no way.
Yeah, I was like, he wouldn't have been able. I said they would have been having church outside like Vampire in Brooklyn. I was like, absolutely not.
And at night.
Yeah. So I thought, that was an interesting piece to see. Like you said, how he chose his career over, the church or whatever. But I also, there was a lot to take away even in that scene, because it's like you said, I'm putting my faith in my music
or me
or me. Yes. Or because I was like, dang, did he like turn his back on the church, or was it just like or is he like just like he knows that God is always walking with him? It's so many different things that you could take away from that scene. But man, I mean, it was just so good, because low-key, I already was low-key hoping that that Mary, I was like, oh shit, she already when they introduced her, I already thought that she was a vampire.
But it was sun outside.
But think about how she was covered. But I felt like if she was more covered,
right,
she could have been a vampire. I think that would have been a fun plot twist, but she wasn't.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna be. And you know what? It couldn't be. I thought Annie was the one that was the main vampire when I first saw the movie. I was like, oh, it's the white girl, the white devil.
Yeah.
I'm Doja. They sleep. Yeah, we part of Just Posted Podcast, man. The best show on this network. Come on, check, though.
Seriously, man. Just Posted. It's just me and Doja sitting back talking about what the fuck going on in the world and the streets.
We said labor of love. He said labor of love. I ain't say that shit. Shout out to everybody coming to watch though, man. We really appreciate y'all. Holla at y'all later.
Hey man, this nigga just tall for no reason.
I'm gone.
And he do regular jobs. Don't forget that.
I could also see Ryan smartly saying that's exactly what people thought I would do.
Yeah,
or I think that a black director would do to make the white woman the one that's the poison for the black man. Even though she was, but it was framed in a different way. It wasn't. Yeah. She generally was in love with him. He just was in lust with her, which is the difference.
But you know what? I think
anybody loved her a little.
I think he loved her, but I think he realized the reality was that they could never be together.
Yes. It was a part in there when I rewatched. Like, hey, did he pimp her out to get married?
No, he didn't pimp her out.
Like, yeah, she was like, I only did that because you told me to go marry that man in Arkansas.
Yeah, well, because he wasn't gonna marry her. Like, I just felt like it. I think it is a part of what you said. I think is more of it was lust. I think he cared about her. I think he loved her because, like, her mama pretty much raised them. All these different things and protected them. But I think he just knew the reality of what it was in the time, and that it was always just gonna be something.
Yeah, man, because it's a layered film. Like I said, like my first viewing, it was my personal thing with personal stuff with it, but it's very, very good. Very, very well. I mean, to the scene where he's playing the music and literally burning the house down. is amazing.
Yeah, the past president.
But I will say this, and I'm going to give Ryan Coogler so much props with this. It was so many moments where I thought this movie could have ended up being corny as fuck, but he teetered on the level just enough to get what he needed done, and then got it back right. It'd be like that whole dance montage, and like that could have looked real corny.
Oh, it could have been, but then once
it was like right there he was on a little tightrope.
But you know, here's the crazy part. I think once that soundtrack kicked in, it almost kind of took you through a dream sequence, like the actual sound.
That could have looked bad. That could have.
I think that's what kind of had us all locked in, because as it drowned out Sammy, and then you heard everything else, it made sense. And it just ended up being like we said, like as you talked, as Remick was talking. And you talking about the history of everything and all this stuff, it just all worked out. It all weaved itself together. It was just really dope.
Yeah, and it was all based around the blue. And I think the illest part is low key was not the ending post credit, but that it was an old man. Because if you look at the blues, it's always these crazy stories, and they'll be like, "Yeah, man, I can't." It was a night I was in Clarksdale. It was some vampires there. They was trying, and you like, man, all right, you just took this old man up here telling this blue. So it makes you start going like, oh. And I think that was the key big thing, is like the music is actually telling. What if some of this music that is telling these stories are telling true stories, and it's telling our plight and telling our past in these deep, rootful ways. And this man has got this claw on his face that he had, and people probably asked him, and I wonder if he was telling the story, or was he like, "You'll never believe me if I told you anyway." But
yeah,
Oh,
for sure. It was just, oh my God, it was so good.
It was good. I mean, and then you got to think about it. The blues itself was telling the story of Smoke and Stack. Smoke and Stack were legends themselves. There were so many random stories about them. You didn't know what was true or not about them.
Yeah. But what we do know is that Smoke shot that nigga in his kneecap and was like, "Hey, you ain't finna go off telling people that you almost got me." I got you.
But my thing is, what if Smoke and Stack ain't never really murdered nobody for real? And it's just all these legends.
No, we'll see. All what they could equate.
I mean, I guess they went to World War I, so I guess they had to have murdered some people in the war. So I guess
I don't know if they both went. I know one.
Yeah, they both went. They both went.
Okay, see, I just remember the part hearing vividly that Smoke went.
No,
because especially when what's her face is like, "You a soldier, ain't you? You supposed to, like the Asian woman."
No, they ain't go nowhere without each other for real. So like,
I mean, hey, you never know, but you are, but also, what was I thinking about? Damn it. I had it. I'm gonna have to come back to it because I forgot. Damn it! I hate when that happens.
Because Smoke, they were both World War I guys, which was that part of the timeline. I mean, how old do you think they were supposed to be? Smoke and Stack.
Okay, they left for 7 years.
But World War I is over in 1919. This is 1933. So where was they at? Did they come back to Clarksdale for a while, then go to Chicago?
Yeah, I would be under the impression that's what happened.
That they went to World War I. But then
there's probably a level of PTSD that's there. Who knows what happens? But what we do know for sure is that Smoke killed their daddy.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't think they were out here running, terrorizing this town. I just think it was just people. They just knew that they kind of wasn't to be played with.
Right. Yeah. I don't think they were nefarious dudes. Like, even like the idea of like they worked for Al Capone. I don't even think they did. They never did. I don't think they ever did.
Well,
Al Capone didn't let black people work for them back then.
That's what I'm saying. Like it was rumors about these different things. So if you fun fact, so if you go and look at the soundtrack and stuff on, I know you don't have Spotify, but I'll send you the story on TikTok where they have like news articles that kind of say what happened in Chicago So like they like robbed the Italians
and the Irish, and made them think they both did it to each other.
Yeah, and all that different stuff.
Right, but that's them. I guess them saying they work with Al Capone. They stole from Al Capone, basically. So
yeah.
So now when they said that, I thought this would be how crazy my mind went with the Irish vampire. I thought the Irish sent him as like they hitman. Like like I was like, oh, they on next level. They got vampires on their hit squad.
No, he just wanted the music.
Yes, like, hey, where's the O'Dudley's family's beer at? Like, I thought he was.
But you know what also, like, when we go back, speaking of that, like when they enter the chat, it's just crazy how openly and willing and receptive the white couple were to let him Remick in their house. Mm-hmm. And y'all see that he looks like crazy as hell. Like his skin is like burning.
White. And you gotta remember, this is the time period.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Like, well, I read someone in a Reddit thread was talking about, well, he was Irish. Didn't like regular white people not? Yes, they didn't. But this is the time period where everyone became white. Where like where they were taking on Italian people, Irish people. As long as you was white, it didn't matter if you were Scottish, whatever.
Exactly. They still do that with Persians and Armenians. Right.
But I'm saying, but this is when the period when they start really like
exactly
bringing them into the fold.
But it's so funny because when you hear the story surrounding, like, you know, the Choctaw, not only I think that the Choctaw, because it was getting dark and they, we're also risking this nigga getting out and these people, he's going to change them and they're going to come after us. But also we have to remember the time, sundown town. So we got to get out of this motherfucker anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless of what's like, what may or may not happen, but like I said, I will be interested to see how did they track this person? How did y'all see him? Because clearly whatever y'all did, like he was, I would like to know a little more about that, but I'm
trying to figure out how he got that far and with sunlight on that. And
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
and was it that y'all just was like, oh, we're gonna burn him to make sure he dead? Like we're gonna put him in the sunlight, and then he got away, and y'all running. What happened? But also, I too was like, man, I wish that I thought it was gonna be something where the Choctaw was like, all right, we ride it down. These motherfuckers are out. We finna come and help the people, but they never came back. But also, it could be one of those things like, in their culture, because it is also brought up as well. Like, okay, they call them fire whatever they call them, fire starters or fire people. They knew that, hey, we tried to tell y'all, we out of it. We over here with our people, and we just trying to protect our people, and that's it.
Yeah, like it's a good film, man.
So good.
I want anybody to go see it. Like, I want to hear what other people think, man. Like about this. Probably end up doing a full review over the Lando Cal experience. Because I'm gonna see it again for a third time. Because I want to really, I'm really thinking about this faith thing with it more and more of like. It's really a challenging of what your faith is like, and it started making me think about the song from Tupac that uses the Manifest Destiny beat from Jamiroquai, and it's called "What Do You Believe In?"
Okay,
and the song is just basically like saying like whatever you believe in something. If at the least just believe in you.
Yeah,
like at the minimum, just
that's real. I think that's where a lot of people are, because even when we talk about like the concept of organized religion and everything that happens, and I think that you have people that kind of dispute like, oh, it's just God, and I'm like, but God also lives in us, so it's the God in me. I'm also a God, like, I'm not in the arrogant sense of what necessarily Kanye was saying, but in the sense of like, I'm an extension of him. So I am him, and I'm supposed to live and do certain things, and I'm still human. I am flawed. I make mistakes, but ultimately I know that God sees me, feels me, and wants me to do right by him. And that's one of
So since we mentioned Kanye,
oh shit.
I want to be delicate with this, Dom, because I hope this is him like really venting, because a part of me, and if anybody doesn't know, Kanye has just come out with a new song and tweets saying that him and his cousin that is in jail for murder were looking at pornographic magazines, and then he ended up performing fellatio on him till he was 14 years old, and it's in a song. I won't get. You can listen to it, the song for yourself. I hope this is like a telling of a story or something like that. But a part of me feel like he full of shit, man, and that he's lying.
You know what?
He said the little boy was 6. So was he older? So if he's older,
yeah, this is to me how it read. No, okay. So I was
like he was taken advantage of, and I'm looking at it like no,
I don't.
Potentially,
for me, how it read was either they were the same age or Kanye may have been older, just based on how that read. And I was with somebody yesterday that works for someone on that label. And he got a call about it. And actually multiple calls about it. So, our conversation was the same thing right here. And I was like, to me, this reads as if Kanye honestly might have been older because he was the one that had showed him. And then he said that they did what they saw in these pictures. So that's how it read to me.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I don't think that Kanye realizes how, even putting that in the song, like, and if this is his truth, this is his truth.
Yeah,
you're able to
but he plays with so much stuff, and he plays with so much stuff. Exactly. We don't know what he be what is real and fake sometimes, and what's for attention.
Yeah. For me, I was, like I told my homeboy, I was like, I don't think a lot of people are about to be triggered. A lot of people are about to relive trauma that they have compartmentalized.
And that's some shit if it didn't happen for real. It's a really getting real brains like that. That's some real dastardly shit.
Yeah, for sure. And it's one of those weird things where, people have to relive those things that they might have even thought they could have had hashed out, and come to peace with. About things that have happened to them. So it was definitely like weird. I don't, like I said, I hope for the sake of the people consuming that this has come across. I hope for the sake of every victim that this is true. Mm-hmm. Because sexual assault, regardless of whatever age it was, is something that's not to be played with. And what it also sparked the conversation about, my friend was like, how common it is amongst, a lot of us. Mm-hmm. How he was like, why was this so normal? I was like, because I said, I think at least in our community, I could just speak to how sex is still taboo and we fucking grown. Mm-hmm. We don't have certain conversations still. It's about educating your kids. It's teaching your kids at a young age what the human body does, what things feel like. That doesn't mean that you're a terrible parent because you're teaching your kid about sex. You're teaching your kid about sex to protect them from predators. We don't want to talk about it. It's like, oh, Larry fucking weird. Don't leave your kid around Larry. Well, if I can't leave my kid around fucking Larry, why is Larry not in fucking jail? Or it's like, oh, you need to change when Larry comes over. And I'm sorry, Larry. This is just a name that came to mind to the Larrys out there. But it's also like, well, he don't need to be around these kids. He don't need to come over our house if I gotta change. You know what I mean? It's one thing to like, okay, if I have pajamas on, you got company coming over. You need to just put clothes on in general. So people not seeing you in your comfortable clothes, like your night clothes. So that's one thing, but it's another thing to like literally have somebody lusting after your child. And I think that's also a conversation. It is time for us to have that conversation with us as a community and as with our children, because my job as a parent, your job as a parent is to protect your kid.
Yeah, at all costs.
At all costs.
Podcast, we definitely discuss healing. We discuss aspects of psychology. We discuss you becoming the best you, mental wellness,
for sure,
health.
femininity, parenthood, dating,
definitely
as
dating,
single parents. And it's from a lens of two psychologists,
Yeah.
So,
but also two people who grew up like with both parents, married parents, and then you all know that Chloe and I are the youngest of our crews, like her siblings and my siblings. So so it's from that perspective.
Yeah, looking at life through that lens. So you're gonna get a whole lot of things from us. From us being women, going through life as parents, and all of these awesome attributes. But yes, womanology, the study of women.
The study of women.
So, because even if you sending your people sending their kids to daycare, kids can't really, articulate what that is. You can say, oh, nobody can touch you here. But what if somebody touched them there and they feel the sensation that feels good?
Yeah.
That they honor. Yeah. You see?
Yeah.
It's tough. But that's the reality. We have sexual organs. And it's literally saying, this might feel nice to you. Somebody's pressing this button. Somebody's doing things. You're too young to be experiencing that.
Yeah. I just want him to. If this is true, man, like I said, if this is something that let's work through this. Let's use this as a teachable moment, as you said. But I don't believe. I want to believe him, but it's like, damn, man, like he's the boy that cried wolf, like all this other stuff. You just always, So now I'm supposed to believe you now because it is.
Yep. Also, I know this sounds crazy. I told you yesterday when I sent it to you. I know him and Kim are no longer legally married, but they need to call them people on him. He need a moment away for a while because this is just too much. You got kids that can read, that have access to the internet, that's seeing this. You saying you haven't seen Saint in all year. I'm like, do you know he can read, right? So I don't think it's Kim's choice to keep Saint away from him. I think Saint is like, yo, this nigga wilding. This is it's too much. It's too much. It's too much. So like I said, and maybe for him, if this is true, him saying that to the world, that gives him a level of healing. But you need to go talk to them people. You need to go see them people.
Yeah, he just Kanye,
it's too much.
It's too much. All right, since we talking about him, man, I mean, we might as well get into a little of this right here. This, the people, I know the people love it, All right. Surviving Diddy.
That picture always looked like Mega Mike. Or Mega Man.
Yeah, Mega Man. You saw Mega Man from the old Mega Man from the video game.
Yeah.
But Diddy is back. But now, as we talked about, maybe three or four back, his first attorney, that was a pretty good attorney, that was a brother, decided he looked at all this stuff and said, "I gotta go."
Yeah.
This I can't try this for whatever reason. We do not know why. And of course, as good any good attorney would, he did not tell you why either, because that is a client privilege thing. That if he did say why, it would destroy whatever he had going on as an attorney.
Yeah.
That's not who it is. But the great Diddy has signed on Brian Steele. Who is Brian Steele, you may ask? Brian Steele is the head attorney that got off one Young Thug in Atlanta, GA. Got him, well, I guess he didn't get him off. He just got him 20 years probation.
And he's the one that ultimately went to jail too because they tried to hold him in contempt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
he was hiding stuff, hiding a little this, a little that.
But like I told you, honestly,
no, he was trying to stop them from hiding some stuff.
Yeah. He was. They was hiding stuff.
Yeah, and he was
trying to. Ultimately, like I said, I'm surprised Diddy didn't hire him sooner, especially considering the outcome in that case. It was a long time. I was like, he should have had him on his team.
Look, as soon as he said thug means, what did he say thug mean? Hold on.
He said, because what he say YSL mean? Young,
yeah,
savior,
saving lives or something like that.
Some shit. And I'm like, really? You could have just said Yves Saint Laurent. Like, this is for us paying homage to the great designer that used to be at the house of Givenchy. Like, what?
Yeah, he what did he say? His oh no, he said thug mean truly humbled under God.
Right, like,
hey, I would have gave him a call right then.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's on some flip of Tupac's original thing with Thug Life, which is the hurt you give little infant. No, the hurt you give little infants. Oh man, hold on. What is Thug Life mean? I'm tripping.
And if y'all hear my dog over here making noise, just know she is in a cone. I'm trying to make her an appointment to go to the vet. She has now gnawed in multiple places on her back.
Okay, yeah. The hate you give little infants fucks everybody. So that I think that that Mr. What is his name again? Hold on. This attorney. I like his better. Even and I love Pac, but I love his better. His truly humbled under God.
Child. This is a mess. That's a mess. So like I said, like that'll definitely be interesting to see how this case pans out with him on it. But like I told y'all heard my theory. I ain't gotta repeat it. I think a lot of that stuff is gonna go out the window. He's still gonna have to pay other people. But the thing that, like I said, is gonna be the trafficking thing and that underage stuff.
Dang, they said they got pictures of Diddy 4 days ago reporting to court. They said all his hair is gray in this mock-up picture they got of him.
I can see that.
So he was using that dye heavy then.
Yeah. That or the stress is just really. I mean, Diddy like 50?
No, 56.
Oh, he older than that. Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, that makes sense.
Diddy's 55.
And you can tell that you know that just by how you can look at the front and tell
that he was dying.
Yeah, and it's not like super Beijing heavy, but it'd be like it's like around the rim, it just be real dark.
Yeah, when is this trial start?
May 5th. Weeks, yeah. That's like weeks.
Ooh, wait, it's finna. Woo. Oh, it starts on the 5th. Well, okay. Well, alrighty then. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Last up, this has been a litigious episode. This last part of the show. Shannon Sharpe, man.
Sorry, we sorry.
Yeah. Look, y'all. We gave y'all a good helping of amount of this about sinners, man. You know, but Shannon Sharpe and Tony Buzbee are at a battle. Now, what is going like? What is like?
So
is Tony Buzbee the joke? Is the Joker for black men?
Maybe.
for black men superheroes.
Maybe.
Actually, no. Maybe he's the Lex Luthor. He's more like Joker just did stuff because he wanted to do because it was fun.
Yeah, this situation where Shannon Sharpe is facing a $50 million lawsuit. This is the statement from Tony Buzbee. Late last night, the Buzbee law firm filed a civil lawsuit on behalf of a brave young woman who alleges she was brutally sexually assaulted by former NFL player Shannon Sharpe on multiple occasions. The last incident occurring in January 2025. The lawsuit filed under a pseudonym, Jane Doe, lays out a pattern of intimidation, manipulation, abuse, and including allegations that Shannon Sharpe repeatedly threatened to choke and slap Jane Doe. The case seeks $50 million in damages. This case is on file in Department 11, Clark State County Court. Nevada, the county where the alleged misconduct took place. The egregious and concerning facts of this case are set forth in detail coming to the public. So, this is just really interesting, because ultimately this stuff with Shannon Sharpe, he ends up releasing a statement, but they actually, Shannon Sharpe's party have released a name.
Now, can they do that?
Now, I don't know if you can do that. I don't know. But this is the update from yesterday to the day. This is a shakedown, Sharpe said. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. Sharpe accused the plaintiff attorney, Tony Buzbee, of targeting black men and attempting to manipulate the media by selectively editing evidence. Tony Buzbee targets black men. I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. He then continued by saying that video should actually be about 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. So, okay, yeah, he said he would do it. He also claimed the encounter in question was consensual and initiated by the accuser, whom he identified as Gabriella Zuniga, who also uses the name Carly on OnlyFans. And Gabby and Tony Buzbee want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation. Sharpe emphasized that his intention to be transparent with the public. My career is all about real talk and honesty. So, as you all know, that he was engulfed in a scandal last year when he accidentally went live during a sexual encounter with Michelle. So there has been audio that has been leaked.
Yeah, TMZ leaked it. We can't play it because TMZ.
I wouldn't say. I would just say let's just steer clear of that anyway. Yeah. Where it kind of is like it's a little tricky because when you're saying like if you're saying this is consensual and this is something that a kink that he's into and you're willing to do it. And then the moment that he takes it away, you're saying that all these things happen. It's a fine line, but I also,
John, I'm gonna say this, and
why y'all allowing people to record y'all?
No. I'm gonna say this, Dom. Hey, Shannon Sharpe, you too goddamn old for this shit.
I was going there next.
And I know, and I respect him, especially what he's building media-wise and what he's done with his career. But man, you too goddamn old, dude.
That's what I'm
21, 22-year-old dude. Go get you a motherfucking 47-year-old fucking Garcelle Bouvet or somebody and sit your ass down somewhere. Even though I don't know if Garcelle Bees is 47, I just threw out a random woman that came to my mind.
And she also married, but I know what you're saying.
I'm sorry, Garcelle. You're married, sweetheart. I'm sorry. But I'm just saying, go get you somebody. You ever messing with some 20, 21, 22-year-old girl you met at the gym?
What happened with him? Wasn't he messing with Nicole Murphy for a second?
Oh, he was?
I know.
Michael Strahan was. Michael Strahan.
I know he was, but I thought he was messing with Nicole Murphy for a second a little while ago, but maybe I made that up. But go in that lane.
Yeah, so and my thing is like, and more of anything, and you know what we're learning though is this, and I thought about this even before the Shannon Sharpe thing. Cats have been and not necessarily do anything bad, but cats have been famous so long or had a lot of bread so long that they forget that the game is the game.
Yep. I'm Shannon Sharpe. I'm gonna trick off on this little young chick, talk shit to her, do whatever, and I'm Shannon Sharpe. Ain't nothing gonna happen. Yo, the game is even more on fire right now. Look, at this point, I don't know why brothers don't be making people sign NDAs for even dating me. At this point, I know that sounds but that's
not for everybody though. So I don't want y'all regular dudes is making 80 grand talking about I'm finna fucking make girls sign NDAs. I'm talking about cats that's got real bread, real things at stake, and businesses at stake.
That's what I'm saying. Like it to me, this is just I don't understand.
But he should know better than this. He's been in a fucking NFL since the 80s.
And this isn't sex shaming. Like I'm not shaming.
No. I'm talking about him being jammed up by this young chick.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you also telling us that she has an OnlyFans. She a hustler. She's about getting to the bag.
And you thought he thought it, man. The great BB.
He thought he was sad. He thought he was special. He thought he was special.
The great Belle Biv DeVoe said it best, and I've lived. I learned on my own.
The I Only Listen to 90s Music podcast is a show for 80s babies who were 90s kids. If you were a No Limit soldier, then this is your show. If you believe that Cash Money is not an army but was a Navy, this is the show for you. If you and your friends ever tried to sing a song written by Escape, In Vogue, Shy, or Boyz II Men at a talent show during middle school, this is your show. The I Only Listen to 90s Music podcast is a bunch of 80s babies talking about all the songs and things that we loved when we were kids and teenagers. So if you went to the skating rink and you were at a lock-in, this is the show for you. If you think that Tevin Campbell was the original Prince of R&B, this is the show for you. If you don't understand the conflict between Monica and Brandy, but you're kind of on Monica's side and understand why Brandy got punched, this is the show for you. Make sure that you tune in, subscribe, click the little subscribe link. We're here. We're going to talk about all things 90s music. This is the show for you.
This words, keep in mind, I learned myself. I thought it was me. I thought it was me that made the girl so wild. I thought it was me. Come to find out, she's like that every day. If you can understand that when it comes to some women,
I was trying to see if we could find a girl, but it's somebody by that name for real. And
I found her. She looked like
this person made their profile private and was like, I'm not associated with Shannon Sharpe.
Oh, she put that in the bio?
This is what somebody said because they have 1,500 followers. It says, I'm not associated with Shannon Sharpe. I'm from Canada.
Yeah, so this is this is the one that they're claiming.
I found her.
And like for this, dog, for this.
That's how I always be.
But I get it. That's did you see her? I sent you the link too. But it's the thing that I think is he thought it was sweet. He was gonna mess around, do whatever with this young lady. He thought I'm Shannon Sharpe. Ain't nothing. But you said, like you said, if you know she got an OnlyFans, she's a what? Hustler.
A hustler.
Regardless of whatever you think that you got some power over her, these Gen Zers be recording everything. That's why I wouldn't couldn't date one. You ain't gonna get me.
But that's why I'm like,
I need somebody old like me that barely uses technology.
But I'm like, how you letting somebody record you like that?
But
you know, like
we're not used
crazy.
to that.
I'm like, how are you letting somebody?
We're not used to that. We're not used to that.
Like it's not. I mean, I'm used to it, but it's like I own the rights to it. It's mine. It is in a folder.
No. But
you know what I mean. But it's like also, but it's not a reoccurring thing. But I'm like you, like I would be if I was Shannon Sharpe. I would be afraid that this is what would happen.
Mm-hmm. I agree. This is literally, and he's in more trouble than you think, Dom, because that dog on IG thing, Disney let that ride.
Yeah. Oh, he off the air now. If he not off the air, you know, I would be really shocked if he not off the air. Now, but like I told you, but like I said, now here's the thing. It wasn't nobody trying to sue him or extort him for money also when that happened. But also, like I told you, I could tell you all he had to do was going to take them the phone and say, hey, look, you go and open that thing, like you drop it on. I told you how my phone does that. Mm-hmm. Like I can hit that button where I want to post a story, but it opens fucking live. So that's how I was like, hey, all he had to do was show them that. But this shit,
this is different.
Y'all have to realize who y'all are, y'all worth, y'all value.
No, they do. That's the thing, though. They don't.
They don't.
It's because they got away with certain shit for so long because of who they are. You forget that the game ain't sweet. Like I'm saying, it's like, man, like they've been playing with the cheat code.
I say when they forget who they are. At the end of the day, you still a nigga.
Yes.
And the rules apply.
But they know it. They know it. But it's like it's like a thing of like it ain't gonna happen to me. You know,
that's
like
what I'm saying. Like you think, but it's still the same game. Like you said, the game ain't changed. It just changed the generation.
Yep.
Man,
like,
but hopefully you figure it out, boy.
Yeah, because I was pretty disappointed in him with this. Not the fact that he got sued for a lawsuit, because that can happen to anybody. That's whatever. But how this went down, and the young lady being like 21, 22, and you like look. One of my biggest things I've always learned is all the people that I like really look up to always have like a solid chick with them. If they married or not, like they've been with that person. It's a solid woman in their life. They ain't moving around on some like, yo, I'm out here like that. Even if they're divorced, most of the time I know the cats, they get right with somebody else and be married in like 3 to 4 years or in a committed relationship. I'll say that. I'm not gonna say that just because marriage isn't for everyone. But they ain't or they doing low key stuff. They ain't, you know. Look, I don't even know where to meet a 20-year-old at. And I'm 44.
Like I said, same script, different generation. Yeah. And that's on him because he didn't dot his I's and cross his T's. Do better.
All right, I got one more for you, Don. Since we got a little bit of time, one more for you. That we've been holding off on. It's not a video, but I'm going to read it to you. Where are my notes? All right. When Barry White died in 2003, he was in a long-term relationship with Catherine Dennett, while legally married to his estranged wife, Glodine White. Although separated since 1988, he never updated his will, making Glodine the sole executor of his $20 million estate as his widow. Bitter, Catherine sued her for a share of the estate. She lost her case when a court-ordered DNA test revealed that the children she had given birth to just 5 weeks before Barry's death wasn't his.
Shit. Yo, so yeah, I mean, but you know what? Didn't that happen? That happened to DMX, the girl that he was with
from St. Louis.
Yeah, where she didn't get a piece of that estate. It went to his kid. Yep. Yeah, and it went to I like Tashira, by the way. I always like Tashira.
Yep.
And that's so weird that I remember her name, but I remember I watched like one of those like shows about
documentary
like,
shows with her on it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because like that's where I was like, fuck Big Pun, because he pistol whipped his wife.
Yep.
But people, these are conversations that
damn, since we just brought to share something, she just did an interview with Carlos King.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you knew that already. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's men out here that think that are not sure if they want to get married or certain things like that. You don't have your affairs in order, blah, 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 blah. It's a cautionary tale for women. Because like low key, if I feel like sometimes if a man isn't gonna do that, and I know that it's nothing to update a will, but then like in which really you should not more than a will, you should have it in a state. Because you can't necessarily, I don't think you can have the will can be contested, but I don't think the estate can. And I think within an estate is less taxes or something, if you have to pay tax on it at all. But you got to think about like yourself and your kids. And if you're not like, you can have family members come and contest that will.
Yeah, no,
and it gets so expensive.
A lot of people contesting the will. Like when I went into it more, Bear White has another son he found out about that started contesting it. So okay, I'm gonna read it to you real quick, just so you can get on September 20th. White was posthumously inducted into the hold on, let me go back up. Children. White had at least 9 children. By the age of 16, White had fathered 2 children from his first wife, Mary. They had 4 children together total. In 2017, his son, Daryl White, from his first marriage, sued his estate, claiming he was cut off financially. White had 4 children with his second wife, Glodine James. That's the one that's running the estate. Their daughter, Shahara, was his personal assistant. Barry Jr. played in the Love Unlimited Orchestra and was also his tour manager, while his other son worked his publishing administration. White had a daughter, Denise Donald, born in 1962 to Guthrie Allen. She didn't discover who her biological father was until 1988. To accepted by White with his help, she changed her name to Denise White. In 2016, she sued White's estate after she stopped receiving money. Damn. After White's death in 2003, his girlfriend, Catherine Denton, claimed their infant Brianna was a biological child. Denton was also claiming she was owed money and personal items that White had promised to give her. Paternity tests revealed that he was not the father of her child, like we talked about earlier, and Denton subsequently lost her court case. Now that's just messy, man. Damn.
Who that is?
Like, so you was literally so you was gonna try to ride that baby out on Barry though if he wouldn't have passed.
Yeah, of course you was.
Yeah, you was gonna try to ride that baby out on Great Barry White.
I
ain't never gonna give you up.
But also, I'm like, okay, because how did Barry White pass?
He passed from he had got up to 375 pounds.
Yeah, he had like a heart. That's what I thought, like a stroke or a heart attack or something.
Yeah, he had a severe stroke in May of 2003, which forced him to retire from the public. So he was down for a minute, and then White's unstable health prevented him from receiving a new kidney, and he died on the 4th of July 2003 at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in LA after suffering cardiac arrest.
Okay.
58.
Damn. Yeah,
But he got up to 375 pounds, they said.
So wait, when did he have that stroke?
The month before he died.
Oh, okay. So
You doing the math on it? You doing the math?
Since you knew that baby wasn't that nigga baby.
Yes.
And you knew that they was gonna make you take a DNA test. That's how that goes.
You thought they was just gonna let it ride and just
because that's what happens. Like I'm like, they do that. You are contesting somebody's will. Anytime you're trying to do anything with regardless of yes, it is, the court will still make you take a DNA. It will be court ordered before they do any proceeding. They do that. Girl.
Hey, she thought it was sweet.
Yes, and yes, I was doing the math. And the math was not mathing.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
It didn't
make any sense. Well, Don, where can people hit you up at?
Y'all can find me on Instagram, St. Angeles Whiskey Soured as well. We just dropped a new episode of the podcast where we are discussing Sinners, the ins and outs with me and my homeboy Herb.
All right. Thank y'all for listening as always, and we'll be back. Peace.